welcome once again to Play It Again, the series in which we ask well-known people to talk about the films they love, the stars who made them weak at the knees, movies that perhaps even helped to shape their lives. Well, judging by this photograph, my guest today was destined to become a grand chess master or an absent-minded professor, perhaps. You may recognise her more easily in this picture, looking rather like a female Biggles. But this one will leave you in no doubt at all. She's the star and one-time heroine of Crossroads. Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome, please, Noele Gordon. Noele Gordon, could we clear up the mystery of the Biggles photograph right away? When was that taken?
Well, it was taken quite some time ago, before Crossroads, when I was learning to fly. It was for a program called Noele Gordon Takes the Air, and I was terrified. But I did go solo, and I got my pilot's license.
Really?
Yes. Yes, it was...
So you could fly now if you wanted to?
Well, yes, I was offered to fly a jumbo back from the Middle East not so long far ago, but I thought I'd better decline. I learnt on an Oster, and it's very different from flying a jumbo. But they tell me it's just as easy. I don't believe them.
Did you go to the pictures a lot when you were a child?
Oh, yes. Oh, I was a real film buff. But where I lived in London, in the East End of London, there was only one theatre, which was really a variety theatre, a small variety theatre. So we spent all our time at the cinema, yes.
Yeah. Now, the first clip you've chosen is from Kind Hearts and Coronets. Why have you chosen that?
Well, because I think I grew up with the Ealing comedies. And I think it's true to say that there's never been another era like it for such splendid comedy films. I mean, you could choose any one of them, really, The Man in the White Suit or The Lavender Hill Mob or any of those wonderful, wonderful Michael Balcon films.
And of course, Kind Hearts and Coronets is basically about Dennis Price, who kills off all his aristocratic relations until finally he reaches the peerage.
Yes.
On my return to London, I decided to proceed methodically with the elimination of the remaining minor obstacles. Lady Agatha Gascoigne was a pioneer in the campaign for women's suffrage. With the inconvenient consequence that her public appearances were invariably made under the watchful eyes of the Metropolitan Police. When she was not making public appearances, she was in prison and still more inaccessible. In fact, before I could learn of a favorable opportunity, I had to join the movement myself. Secret plans had been made for Lady Agatha to celebrate her latest release from Holloway by a shower of leaflets over Whitehall in the West End. I shot an arrow in the air. She fell to earth in Berkeley Square.
And of course, Alec Guinness played something like 8 parts, didn't he, in that?
Something like that. I wonder if he's ever played Dame in pantomime. He'd make a marvellous Dame, wouldn't he? And Dennis Price was wonderful in that, too. One of his best performances,
Yes, I think it was. There's no acting tradition in your family, and yet I was very surprised to learn that you sang in concert party when you were 2 and a half. So how did that happen?
Well, my mother had been a very shy child, and I was born in the East End of London. My father was in the Merchant Navy, like all good Scots, and she was very much alone there and didn't know many people. And she was frightened that I was going to be shy. I mean, she needn't have worried, really, as it turns out. But, and so she sent me off to a little dancing academy, not really to sing and dance, but to meet other children. And I never looked back.
But, I mean, did you start off wanting to be a singer and a dancer rather than an actress?
Oh, Tony, I wanted to be anything that would let me out on a stage. I didn't mind what I did. No, I always wanted to be on the musical side of the business, yes. Yeah.
Well, your next choice of film is London Town. Presumably that's because of Sid Field.
Well, yes. I saw him. I was a kid in rep in the provinces, and I saw this wonderful man touring round in a very tatty little review. And he was doing all the wonderful things he became so famous for in later years, and he was doing them then, his wonderful sketches. And sure enough, within a few years, he was starring in the West End. I was playing a very small part in a show at the London Hippodrome. And there was darling Sid in Strike a New Note and doing all those wonderful things that he'd been doing for so many years. And we were always friendly. And of course, another link is that I live in Birmingham and I've been associated with Birmingham for many years. And he, of course, was one of the great Birmingham comics.
He became, of course, a legendary figure. Were you aware when he wasn't really well known that he was a great comic?
Oh, I think so. I shall never forget that night seeing him on the stage of the Nottingham Empire, as I say in this very tatty little review. And he just shone. He was magic. I think most people of my generation in the theatre would agree that he was the greatest comedian, certainly of our generation, if not of the century.
Well, we're going to see, of course, the very famous golfing sketch with the incomparable Jeddy Desmond from London Town.
Just over it, a little ball. All this carry on. Oh. All right, Harry. Take your stance. I've got it here. Don't keep telling me that all the time. Oh, skip it, skip it. What are you doing? You said skip it. Oh, no, get behind your ball. Behind your ball! It's behind all the way round. I don't know what to get. Oh, what? Come on, you haven't even started yet. Now square up to that ball. Square up to it. No, not like that, you idiot. Keep your eye on the ball. Now, get up. Take your eye for then. For the love of Mike, address the ball. Here, ball. Oh, stop.
I don't know what to do, do I?
You haven't the faintest idea.
Oh, dear, I do wish I'd never come.
Yes, and so do I.
I could have gone and had my music lesson with Miss Fanthorpe.
And a great pity you didn't.
It is a great pity.
It is.
Miss Fanthorpe's kind.
Miss Fanthorpe might be kind, but she can't play golf.
No, she can play the piano and the flute.
And who wants to play the piano and the flute?
Miss Fanthorpe.
Miss Fanthorpe. You're going to play golf, understand? Get that. Golf, 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 golf. Oh, get out.
Just you stop it.
Watch it. Get up. Get up.
No, you smacked me.
Yes, you're quite right. I'll wrap this on you there. Come on your feet, you big nitwit. Now, address that ball with the face of the club. That's down. What's up? Get up, you silly.
You do.
Yes.
Just to break my legs, that's all.
I'll have them off.
Just break them the once.
Yes.
That's all. It's opener, well. What a performance.
All right.
If Sid Field had lived, do you think he'd have made the transition to television?
Yes, I think he would, perhaps more successfully than he did to the cinema, because I don't think the cinema could really contain his talent. I think he would have been a fine, not perhaps comedian on television, but a very fine comic actor.
Yes, rather like Hancock.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Now, Call Me Madam has very personal memories.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. I've always wanted to play the wonderful roles that Ethel Merman's played, ever since I was a kid. And I saw, you know, Annie Get Your Gun being done in the West End of London and so forth. And then Call Me Madam appeared. And there was a very good chance that I might have been given the lead in that. But unfortunately, the powers that be in America said, no way, an English woman can't play those parts. And so I was allowed to understudy in the West End, and I was allowed to play it on tour. And I enjoyed myself very much, and everybody seemed to like it. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to go and do this, you know, sort of playing second fiddle for the rest of my life. And that's one of the reasons I went into television.
Well, we're going to see the film version now, which was made, I think, in 1953 with Ethel Merman, Call Me Madam. And here it is.
I'm the chosen party giver for the White House clientele. And they know that I deliver what it takes to make them gel. And in Washington, I'm known by one and all as the hostess with the mostest on the ball. They would go to Elsa Maxwell when they had an axe to grind. They could always grind the racks well at the party she designed. Now the hatchet grinders all prefer to call on the hostess with the mostest on the ball. I've a great big bar and good caviar, yes, the best that can be found, and a large amount in my bank account. count when election time comes round. Entertaining vodka drinkers is a job they give to me. Making nice guys out of stinkers seems to be my cup of tea. What they really need behind the iron wall is the hostess with the moostess on the wall. In the handbag that I'll carry, there's a precious little note to their highnesses from Harry. Introducing me, he wrote, I'll appreciate a favor large of for the hostess, who's the hostess with the mostest on the wall.
And a very brief glimpse of Donald O'Connor there.
Isn't she wonderful?
Well, of course, the good news is, of course, that in November, I think you're going to play it again, aren't you?
Yes, I am going to play it again. Yes, we are doing Call Me Madam, new production at the Birmingham Repertory Theatre at the end of November. And I just pray I can be a tenth as good as Ethel.
And, of course, the part that you're playing is the same part.
Yes, yes.
That you played in 1953.
Yes.
So, do you think that you're going to bring much more assurance to it?
I don't know. I don't think you've got the same self-assurance as when you are 20, 30 years younger. I don't know. You've got more experience to back you up. But all I can say is I'm looking forward to it enormously because it's a great, fun musical. It really is.
Well, we'll take the break there, and we'll see you back here in just a few moments.
"25 seconds, play it again, part 2, production on PA 8227/4, take 1, recording date 9th of the 7th, 82.
And welcome back. You spent 17 years as Meg Mortimer in Crossroads. Were they happy years?
Oh, yes, very happy years. We always had a great deal of fun doing the programme. I was sad, really, when they cut it down from 5 days a week to 4 days a week and then to 3 days a week, because I had a sort of feeling somebody was trying to tell us something. The function of a soap opera is to be on daily, and you produce a programme that has to be geared to a daily programme. And I think everybody, except us, you know, was always trying to improve the programme and give it status. And we knew exactly what we were doing. We knew it was a soap opera. We knew there were limitations on rehearsal times and production
So there was a
times.
wrong decision, you think?
Well, I think so. Yeah. I mean, people blithely talk of soap opera in this country, and they don't really know what it is. A soap opera is on every night, as they are in America and Australia. And people identify with them in a way that they don't with other programmes. And we always fought very hard for Crossroads, all of us, and we were always very proud of it. And I think when people paid us the compliment of coming to see what our routine was weekly, they realised that we weren't just playing about, and that we were in many ways fulfilling a very useful function, I think, apart from our main one, which was entertaining the public.
What about that other contentious decision to sack you?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, everybody's got the right to sack anybody that they employ. But I still don't know why they did it. I mean, I was always sober and clean and learnt my lines and did what I was told. But I suppose they felt they wanted to change the program. But I didn't mind being sacked. In many ways, it's been a blessing. But what I didn't like was the way that it was done. After one has been an employee for 26, 27 years of a company, for someone to turn around and say all good things come to an end, as though you just been playing about for the past quarter of a century. You know, I thought somebody might have said thank you and here's a gold watch or something, but they didn't.
Well, we'll talk about the possible blessing in disguise in a moment. Let's move on to your next choice, which is Hello, Dolly. Is that because of Walter Matthau?
Oh, yes, principally. Yes, I mean, I think Streisand is wonderful, but I'm deeply in love with Walter Matthau. I really am. I think he's wonderful. Great actor.
Well, because he, in this scene, is the rich man who wants a wife, and the matchmaker, played by Streisand, is allegedly trying to find him one.
Yes.
I came here for some privacy.
I owe you an apology, Mr. Vandergelder, and I didn't want to let it go another minute.
You owe me more than that. What about the fee I gave you for getting me tangled up with that collector of men's hats?
Yes, Irene Malloy, she was a disappointment, darling girl.
I'll have you know the confectioner gave me back every cent for those chocolate-covered peanuts.
Well, I'm sorry, I never give cash refunds.
If there was a shred of decency in you...
being an honest woman who believes in giving service that's been paid for, I've already arranged to make it up to you.
Dolly Levi, let me make one thing clear. You have been discharged as my marriage broker. I've no further use for one. From now on, you are just a woman like anyone else.
I am?
And I'm just a man like anyone else. And just like anyone else, I will do everything I can to avoid introductions such as you specialize in.
Well, I can understand your feelings in the matter, Mr. Vandergelder, and I am here today marching beside you to assure you that there will be no further need for my services after your dinner engagement tonight.
Dinner engagement?
7:30 at Tony Gordon's restaurant. It's all arranged. Private room table for two. She'll be waiting.
Who'll be waiting?
Who'll be waiting? The very rich, very beautiful lady I referred to when I saw you in Yonkers this morning. The heiress to a fortune, remember?
I'm not interested. What's her name?
Ernestina?
I'm not interested. What's her last name?
Simple. Simple. Ernestina Simple.
Can she cook?
Can she cook? Frankly, I could never understand why a girl like that who could afford to have every servant in New York City if she wanted to make solo roll meals on a solid gold stove.
Sounds like a fool, and I'm not interested in fools.
Neither am I. Good day, Mr. Vandergelder.
Good day.
And don't forget, 7:30 Harmonia Gardens, and be sure to rent some evening clothes. She's very fussy.
Dolly Levi, you are a damned exasperating woman.
Why, Horace Vandergelder, that is the nicest thing you have ever said to me.
Would you like to play opposite Walter Matthau?
Oh, very much so, yes. That wonderful face. He really has got the most wonderful face. And he seems to be able to play anything. But I would love to be in a comedy with Walter Matthau.
Now, what about these disguised blessings? What have they been?
Oh, since I came out of Crossroads. Well, I've had a chance to come and do programs like this. I mean, this time last year, if you'd asked me to come and do this, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I've been able in many ways to put my house in order because you never, when you're working in Crossroads, you never have any time. You're just sort of running to keep up, and weekends you just lie down because you're so tired. And again, I was able to do a production of Gypsy last autumn and Christmas in Leicester, which was an amazing production. The fact that we weren't allowed to go into London by the American author is neither here nor there. It was a great experience. And then when it came to an untimely end, I went off on a tour of the Far East and the Middle East with the production of The Boyfriend and had the most wonderful time for 3 months seeing places that I never expected to see.
So you've really taken off in all kinds of directions.
And so every time the phone rings, something exciting is happening.
You've also started an agony column.
Yes, yes.
What
yes.
are the qualifications for that?
Well, I wondered that when they asked me to do it. But really, over the past 20 years or so, I've been running an agony column of my own in private because it is amazing how many people do write to you with problems when you're in the public eye, and particularly in a production like Crossroads.
Did they write to you as Meg Mortimer or as Noele Gordon?
Well, both, strangely enough, you know. They would address the envelope Meg Mortimer, and inside they'd say, dear Noel or dear Nolly. And used to write me with quite difficult problems sometimes. And I mean, I don't say that I'm in a position to give them professional advice.
No, they're common sense advice.
But I like to approach the problems that they do send me in a matter-of-fact and, I hope, sensible way. And they say a trouble shared's a trouble halved, and it's very often easier to talk to a stranger than talk to someone you know well.
Now, the very last film you've chosen is a quite modern one, Chariots of Fire. Why'd you go for that?
Well, I don't get time to see many films, so I have to be pretty selective. And I went to see Chariots of Fire last summer. I was in an emotional state because I had just been sacked, but I was even more emotional after I saw it because I went with an absolutely open mind. I didn't know anything about it. I'd heard the music, that was all.
What did you think it was?
I thought it was a space fiction thing, you know, that incredible music that they were playing on radio all the time. And I thought this must be a science fiction thing like Close Encounters or something like that. And I didn't know it was about two runners. And I went to see it, and it just overwhelmed me. I think it's one of the finest films I've ever seen. Brings back a lot of awfully good things that we've forgotten, virtue and competition and struggle. And when I came out, I just went mad.
Mr. Provost, sir, before you allow Eric here to go, is it not true that the main event of the meeting is still to be run?
It is. The 200 yards open championship. It's the last event of this gathering by tradition.
Do you not think, if we can find him some kit, we might persuade Scotland's finest wing to show us his paces? Can you see, Eric?
Clear marks. Let's hunt.
It makes you very proud to be British, and me very proud to be Scottish when I see that film.
It's a very strange thing that in your career you've only made one film, which was called The Lisbon Story.
That's right.
Why have you never made any others?
Nobody's ever asked me. I'd love to make a film.
Because the Lisbon Story was actually based on Casablanca, wasn't it?
Well, yes, it was. George Black, Senior, went to see Casablanca, the film, and just went mad about it and said, I want to make a musical of this. And they said, well, you can't. So he had one written as near it as possible, you know. And it was a great success as a musical. And then, of course, they made a film of it.
But if you were able to choose the sort of film subject you'd ideally like to do, what sort of subject would it be?
I'd like to do Chariots of Fire with Walter Matthau. No, I would like to do a comedy film, really, because I think comedy goes very well on film.
Who would you choose as your director? Mel Brooks?
I wouldn't say no. If we could do something like Blazing Saddles, it would be amazing. Yes.
Yes, my imagination is beginning to boggle at the kind of scene that you would be involved in.
Yes,
Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles film.
Walter Matthau and me in Blazing Saddles. No, I would love to, because when I made Lisbon Story, I was rather bored with the process of filmmaking, but I don't think I would be now.
No, well, I hope that you do make your film debut with Walter Matthau very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, Noele Gordon.
Thank you.